So welcome back to Blank Space. We've got Dwarika here, and Dwarika is one of the founders of Aays Analytics, and it's a fully bootstrapped company that scaled to 12 million in the first 6 years, and it has grown both organically and through acquisition as well. The team has scaled to 250 plus across UK, Singapore, and also in India. It is ranked the 31st in the Financial Times Statista for the 500 high growth companies, Asia Pacific 2024 list, and I've worked with Fortune 500 organizations. Dwarika, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to ask and just get to really understand like your personal story. I know that you're the founder of Aays, which is absolutely amazing. I want to take you all the way back to where it all started, you know, your story. I know that you're from India, you know, past all of these accolades for your business. What is Dwarika's story? Like, where do you come from and what is your personal attachment to that? So if you could go back, all the way back to India, like what was it like just growing up for you in India?
Okay. No, first of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. You know, I think this question comes once in a while in my mind as well, where it all started, right? I think if I go back, probably, I grown up in a very, very small village in India, one of the poorest states, if I can say. Probably, you know, getting electricity is a luxury. Probably, we used to get 3 to 4 hours of electricity maybe in a day, right? And but life was very simple, right? And very joyful as well. It's just that when you reflect back, it feels like, okay, we didn't have much resources, but we were very resourceful because we had to work around things, right? As a kid, you have a very good social connection with everyone in the society.
So you know everyone that's like around.
You know everyone. You play with all the kids around there.
That's really nice.
Then because you don't have a lot of facilities, you have to invent your own games, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, very early I remember I have been reading in books, there are parks in big cities, but we didn't have a park in the village, right? So we thought, why don't I collect all the kids in my street and then build a park by ourselves, right?
You built your own park?
Yeah, with a small space, right?
Oh, so wow.
We plowed it, then brought different plants from different places and put it, and then made sure that we, every day at 4 or 5 o'clock when we get together to play cricket or something, first we take care of this park and then do it, right? So
how old were you, by the way?
That time I was like maybe 4 years old or 5 years old.
Oh, wow. So you're already a businessman at 4.
No, I mean, basically, that teaches you a lot, right? Because you don't have, let's say, a park where there are certain games that you can play, right? You have to invent to keep yourself busy, right? Going for fishing or just go out and explore things. Those sort of background that we had, right? And then I have a very interesting background because my mom's side are all big businessmen and my dad's side, everyone is service, right? So I have seen both the sides, right? You know, when you do service, what you can achieve, maybe the balance of life, you know, work-life balance, leisure and all those things. But when you do business, you not only make wealth, but you also help a lot of people to employ and all that, right? So, so I've seen both the sides of the world. So very early on, I think probably that is what started, you know, driving me more towards being entrepreneur. I mean, there was no, probably entrepreneur is a word which I probably came to know when I was 16, 17 years old, right? But this was there already. I think that's a very early, let's say, germination of that nature that has happened. And when I went to college, I went to one of the top college in India. So I met a lot of bright kids there.
How did you get into that college? Is that through like?
Yeah, you have to go through a very competitive exam. So, you know, there'll be almost 2 million people apply.
Oh, wow.
And only 3,000 seats.
And you're one of them?
Yeah.
So you're one of the brain boxes?
Yeah, I mean, that was something very, very prestigious back, you know, till today, right? It's called Indian Institute of Technology.
Okay.
So when you go there, you find a lot of smart kids, right? And they're all, it's a 4-year program and you have to stay in a hostel, right? You're away from home. You first time explore what you can do with your friends, right? You build lifelong relationship with them. and all that. And in fact, my founder and co-founder in the company is my batchmate, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did a lot of silly stuff there, including, but we thought of building a robot back then, autonomous robot.
Oh, okay.
In 2006-7 from college, we participated in multiple tech fest where we presenting this kind of things. Most of the times we failed, but we had that mutual respect for each other. We know each other really well, right? So what I'm trying to say is that obviously you have those ideas or those traits that becomes your second nature, but then you also need a big network of smart people around you whom you can work very closely with, right? And that helps you to build a business.
And was that someone so your friend, what's your friend's name?
Anshuman.
Anshuman?
Yeah.
Is Anshuman, would you say that he's one of them that kind of helped you to push past and to start new things?
Yes.
Okay. And when you went to school, what made you, Dwarika, what made you want to go to that school? Because it's a very specific school and you were competing with a lot of people. But what made you want to do that? Is that coming through family? Maybe your upbringing? You said that you didn't have much electricity when you were growing up. What made you want to study and do that?
Yeah. I don't think it is more external. I think it's more internal.
Okay.
Right? I'm a bit of free-spirited, if you think it from that perspective. But I think early on I realized I'm good at few stuff, right? So I may not be the brightest in academics, but if I focus on something, I can achieve it, right? So I think
you were competing with all of how many people went to that?
So 2 million people.
You're very smart.
I think that never drove me, right? I'll come to that, right? So I never wanted to do that as such, want to compete and win. So the win was not the motivation. The motivation was, okay, can I push myself? Because I knew by then that, okay, I'm good in physics, I'm good in maths, chemistry was not great. So they evaluate you based on these three things, right? Physics, mathematics, and chemistry.
Okay.
But I knew that, okay, physics and mathematics is something I enjoy really. And I knew that I could do it, right? So it was more of a battle within myself that, okay, I want to do and achieve something at a personal goal rather than going and defeating others, right? So, even that applies to me today because I'm not bothered by what is happening in the world. Maybe there are companies who are raising millions or hundreds of billions of dollars in the market. It's more around, okay, what am I challenging myself enough, right? Is it, do I know where I want to go, right? I can be very slow at some time, but I can be very persistent and, deep in what we do. So that is very, very important. And then I realized when I went out and saw the world, I realized, okay, there's a huge amount of work that needs to be done with a lot of people who are not having the resources probably the rest of the world has, right? So I think if you think about it, why I started is I wanted to, first, my love to build something, right? I love building things. I love scaling things. And then helping the world in whichever way I can help, right?
I see that it's quite interesting because when you're talking about building something, Dwarika, it almost links, I think it links quite heavily with your upbringing. So you said that you were building games when you were younger, and then now you're also building businesses. So it's just quite interesting, the link between those two things. And also when you started your first business, why did you start that specific business? What was it? Where was it? But also why did you start that?
Yeah. So I think after college I got placed into a large international consulting company, technology consulting company, and I thought it'll be great. In India,
okay.
Obviously, yeah. I thought it'll be great. I'll go there and learn a lot of things, meet a lot of smart people. But then when I ended up there, I realized too slow. It's too bureaucratic, right? Yeah. And I told you also, I'm free-spirited. I need space to build something wherever I go, right? So even that building theme continued in college. That's why I was building robots and things like that, right? I cannot stay and be a small part of the system where you're just building one component. I need to see the whole thing, how it is built, how it is done, right? And influence it as much as possible. So that was not happening there. So I realized
in your
the first job, in my first job after college. So I realized to really get this kind of an environment, either I have to work in a very small company, right, where I can build things like that.
And then see everything.
And see everything, own everything. Or I build something on my own again, right? And I'm talking about 2009, 2010 in India, there were not many startups. Startup was a taboo, right? But I thought, okay, let me do it, right?
That's when Dwarika came in and started.
Exactly, right? And then you build business based on what is your worldview, right? I mean, you think, okay, this is what I know, this is where the pain point is, I can solve it, right? Given the limited exposure that time I had, I thought, okay, e-commerce is a great space because, you know, there is a definitely pain point because India was having a lot of double income households. People didn't have time to buy their groceries, or even if they buy their grocery, it's a painful process. How can I automate that for them, make it as seamless as possible for them, right? And at the same time, I saw in the Western world, people are building a lot of e-commerce companies, becoming big. So I thought, let's start something in that space, right? I mean, looking back, I think, you know, it always was a stupid idea to build something like that because, you know, it is not a technology game. If you think about it, you need to build a lot of warehouses, inventory. So it is basically a hard brick and mortar business with a technology layer on top of it, right? So technology just plays a certain part of it, not the whole thing. So that's when I think, you know, I exited also that business because I realized, okay, it's not a technology play. If you have to compete in this, like Amazon, you have to build your own warehouses, your fleet, your inventory. It's a very heavy infrastructure company with some technology layer, which I was not ready to do. So at that time I exited.
Okay, and then when you exited that company, did you exit because you were looking to do other things, or you felt like it wasn't something that you wanted to be a part of, or like what was the reason why you exited?
No, I told you, right? Like I love building, right? At that point I thought, I cannot build this any further. I need to move out. I don't know what next to do.
Okay.
So I wandered around for another 6-7 months. To see what I can do next.
And was that in India or even?
all in India.
Okay. And then take me to like your next business that you went towards.
So I took some time, right? So I think one of the realization that I had is the world has so much knowledge, right? There are two ways to do it. Either you go and explore it a bit and then start your own business, or build your own business and struggle it through, and then eventually you'll learn that, right? So doing my first business, I realized probably I'm not commercially that, you know, savvy is a wrong word, but I'm aware, let's say, right? How people attract talent, how people do accounting, financial engineering, manage their financials and all that, right? So I thought maybe it'll go and I'm coming from a technology background. I was an engineer. Obviously, I have good common sense, let's say, but there are things beyond common sense, right? So basically, you can offset your knowledge base and then build on that using common sense, right? So I thought, okay, at some point I have to do an MBA or a finance course. So that's why I came to Europe to see what is going on, how businesses are built. So I was lucky enough to get an opportunity in Belgium. I came, there was a large merger and acquisition program going on of 3 different companies into one entity. So I worked in that program team to understand, okay, how they build this large organizations, how they merge them and all that. And then in the parallel, I was also seeing, okay, where should I do my MBA, right? And my wife was in the UK. So, you know, I thought probably we were having a long distance relationship between Brussels and, you know, London.
Oh, wow.
Right. Every weekend, either she will come or I'll go. I thought, okay, let's do the MBA in London so that we can stay together and, you know, build a family as well. So I came to UK to do my MBA. After that, I joined a strategy advisory company called EY Parthenon. There I worked M&A, right? So, but because of my background, they put me in a project, in a team which is called Software Strategy Group, which is more around M&A of SaaS businesses. So, you know, that helped me to understand how businesses are built quite a bit. And then I started my business. Right?
And then you started the business.
Yeah.
So like also when you were doing all of these, because you're busy, you're moving from India, or you're moving to, you said Brussels.
Yeah.
and then your partner was in England. So you're doing quite a few different things. Back in India, when you were younger, I really want to understand, like, what was your relationship like with, I guess, yourself, but then also your family? What was that like for you?
No, I think I have lived in a very good family, right? In a sense, basically my father, my grandfather, grandparents, it's typically Indian, right? Where you live 3 generations in one house, right?
Okay, yeah.
I had my grandparents, I have my
We have a cricket field.
Yeah, of course. So, and interestingly, my grandfather was a freedom struggler. So,
a what, sorry?
Freedom fighter, basically.
Oh, okay.
British. And he was a very man of principle. He taught me very early lessons in his life when he was active, and when he could, including spirituality, including worldview and everything.
Okay.
And then my father was a very diligent person. Is a very diligent person, very disciplined. So he made sure that I'm focusing on the education.
Yeah.
Right. I remember even he taking break from his job just to make me prepare for exams. Right.
Oh wow.
Right. So he has spent a lot of energy. My mother,
he put a lot of time and focus on you doing. Okay.
Yeah. And my mom was a housewife. Is a housewife. So we get a lot of care because of that. And my grandmother was a very, very caring person. So, I had a very fantastic childhood.
Okay.
So that's why I told you, right? I mean, even if we didn't have resources back then, but it never felt like a poor background, right? I mean, just that when you reflect back, you feel that, we didn't have this, we didn't have that, but we were really happy family. I mean, obviously, I think there must have been a lot of issues in the family, but as a kid, we never knew about it, right? Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, I think what you're saying is really interesting because it's your perspective when you're younger versus now. You would only really know once you, I guess, gain more. So it's quite interesting that you have those two different perspectives. Looking back now at your family when you were growing up in India, if you can just really think of the number one thing in your mind that you think your parents did for you to allow you to go into making your own businesses? Yeah. Just really think what that might be.
I mean, I don't know about business, but I think they influenced a lot in terms of what business I'm in today, right? Okay. So in a sense, as a family, I think we had a very singular focus on investing in education, right? Go very deep, love what you do, and do it with discipline, right? So I think without having a technical background, right, and then having those quick wins or early wins in life, right? So for example, like I said, there were 2 million people who apply. Out of that, only 3,000, 4,000 people get, right? Yeah. So that gives you a sense of confidence that I can do it, right? So I think that also helps you to take some hard calls in life, saying that so I had a good job, leave it, do business. Then at some point in time decide leave it because you have a confidence. Even if I leave it, I can do something else, right? And same here, when I started this organization, Aays, I was almost 36, 37, right? But still, I left my stable job, right? And that too, I was in UK. There is no family support as such, right? It's just me and my wife. Wife is very supportive, by the way. She has been the backbone of what I've been doing, right? Yeah. I think she has taken most of the amount of beating. I mean, as you can imagine, it's not a very simple stuff, right? I mean, it looks very glamorous from outside, but it's a lot of hard work and a lot of family support required. But what I want to say is that I think the early focus on education, the early push to go and win things and focus on technology, right? So, obviously, I mean, my parents always wanted me to be a doctor or to be in civil administration service, but I told them I want to do more technology, so they said, okay, whatever you do, just go and focus on that.
And then they were happy to go with that, basically. Yeah. And you also spoke about your wife. How important was it to you that your wife was able to help you when you were doing business?
Oh, I think if I look back now, she has been the biggest contributor, right? And she has been the biggest cheerleader, supporter in what I do.
Wow.
I think it takes a lot of courage and patience and I think kindness, right? Because she is also like a very busy career, right? And then she has been supporting me, like, even during my MBA, I was not earning anything. She was supporting me, right?
Wow.
I was living on her money, let's say, right? And then even after that also, like, we could have a very easy life, right? I mean, do a job 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. But I chose that, okay, I want to do again, right? It's I think, good 17, 18 hours a day work type of role. So she has been supporting the family and, making sure that A, I'm mentally very focused, B, physically healthy, loved and looked after, right? So I think in last...
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think in this venture, she has been the largest support.
Wow, I think that's so beautiful, Dwarika.
You need a support, right? I think any entrepreneur, they cannot... you need a team. The team cannot be only in the office. It has to be in the home as well, right?
Okay, that's so beautiful, honestly, because it's like a lot of people these days, I think, I'm not too sure what it's like in other countries, but you hear a lot about, not necessarily having the right support in terms of a relationship. So I think it's absolutely beautiful that your wife is like supporting you through like times like that.
Yeah.
And what is something I really want to get from you is, do you have any profound, difficult times that you like? What's the most difficult time that you've been through in general? It could be anything.
I think
it doesn't have to be business related.
Of course. I think those 4 or 5 years I had a break between the first venture versus second venture, right?
After India.
After India, when I came here, I knew that I have to do something again, right? Because I don't fit in a job. But at the same time, I didn't know what to do, right? I mean, if you think about it, it's not a very, very difficult situation from outside, because you have a job, you have a very good career, you're doing it, right? But from within, you're broken. Every day, I don't want to do this all the day. I mean, every day. So you don't get that kick every day. Okay, let's go and get up and do something, right? And you have to just keep pushing and buy time, saying that, okay, let's think about it, what to do, and then keep going about your job every day, right? So keeping yourself focused. So either two things could have happened, right? Either I would have given up on starting anything again, or I keep myself motivated, saying that, okay, there will be a day I will start again, right? So I think that was a very tough time in terms of mental, like, you are not focusing on anything. You are in two mind, okay, should I take this difficult job and do it for myself, or should I just focus on what to build next? So it is not a very difficult time, let's say physically or commercially, but it's more a difficult time psychologically. Your mental health takes a toll on that, right? Okay,
and it's like, how did you get past that? Like, how did you get
started
through
it, right?
You just started.
Yeah, and then I think they say manifestation, right? I mean, if you keep thinking about something in your subconscious mind, I think things align. And then I started, right? I mean, and also I wanted to add, right? So because your why point, right? I think if you think about it, right, most of the startups fail because the founders don't go along well, right? That is the single most reason why startups break down, right?
The relationship between
and the direction that they want to take, right? But we have a very co-founding relationship. We trust each other, so we can thrash each other on any day on any topic, but we know that we are cool.
You're good,
right?
You guys are good.
There are many situations where my wife or my co-founder's wife think that, okay, this is the end of it, the friendship is gone, but the next minute we call and then you laugh off it, right? So that helps, right? And then you have a good, very, very good, strong feeling that, okay, these are the guys, they will understand what I'm trying to say and not take it otherwise. So, so that's very important.
Yeah, it's interesting because then a lot of there's a statistic that a lot of people go on, which is most businesses fail within the first 3 years. But then what does that actually mean? Like, is it failing because they don't know what to go towards? Is it failing because they don't have the right relationships? And literally exactly what you were saying. And you were talking about manifestation. Are you religious at all, or do you focus on manifestation? Like, what is your mental side towards achieving things that you're thinking of? Because you were talking about manifestation.
Yeah. I think before going there, I'll just come back to the previous point, which is, I think relationship is very important. I think if anyone is thinking of starting a business or entrepreneurship, I would say build a team, right? Team is everything, right? I think 3 points you said, right? Either there is a gap in the product market fit, that's why they fail. Otherwise, they have, the co-founders don't go along well, they fail. So I would say the first point is not that valid, right? Because I think it's overblown. Because if you have a good founding team, if the product market fit is not good, you'll pivot and do something else, right? So business will fail, right? Primarily business fails because you don't have a good relationship, or your team is not focused and persevering enough to get things done, right? So I think I read a very beautiful line somewhere which stays with me forever, which is entrepreneurship is a luck game, right? I mean, it's a roll of dice in a way, right? If you're lucky, you'll be successful in 1 year. If you're a little bit lucky, then probably you'll succeed in 5 years. But if you are, let's say, the most unluckiest person, then if you can stick to that for 10 years, you'll be successful.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
So how long you can stretch it?
Listen to that. That's a big one.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the game, right? I mean, what happens is once you come together, 3 or 4 people come together, there is a positive energy between them, things start working at some point or other, right? But the point is, can you persevere? The attention span is going so low, everyone wants to be successful overnight, right? That's where the things fail, right? Anyway, now, I think what was the question? Sorry, I forgot about.
That's very, very big what you just said, by the way, as in like, even if you're not very lucky, if you keep persevering in 10 years, you'll get to where you want to get to.
And you get distracted, right? Because there's so much opportunity, there are so many things you can do. You say, okay, live it, chuck it, I will go to something else. Right?
So you've been very consistent through your business journey, basically. And I was asking you, Dwarika, about manifestation.
Yeah.
So, where did that come from?
I have not done manifestation as such consciously, right? But this has stayed with me for a long time, these ideas, right? Okay, I want to do something, right? And then maybe later on, maybe 6-7 years back, I realized there is something called manifestation, right? People do it, right? And now then when I think back, I feel, okay, what I was doing was manifestation unknowingly, right? But I believe, whatever you call it, it's a subconscious mind, manifestation, or clarity of thinking, whatever you call it, I think it really works.
Okay.
I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, right? My relationship with God or whatever you call it is very, very subtle. Probably, I don't go to church or a temple every certain number of days, or I don't celebrate any festival as such. Yeah. But I make sure that I try to connect with myself every day, right? I do a bit of meditation every day, try to, let's say, reflect a lot, right? I do that, but I don't want to put a name to it like manifestation or meditation or religious. It's quite free-flowing and,
What is, like, out of everything that you've done, what is the craziest risk that you've ever taken in life in general?
Craziest risk. Yeah, I think the craziest risk probably I've taken is, like I think I was telling you, we have not gone for any, let's say, funding driven growth strategy, right? I mean, you can say this is a strategy, but if you go by the common wisdom in the market, everyone is raising funding, right? And growing faster, right? And growing on someone else's money. So we have taken that, as a founding team, we have taken that conscious decision that, we will not raise funding, rather stay focused on what we are doing. We might grow slowly initially, but our growth will exponentially increase as the days goes by, right? So that's the risk that we have taken. It's not a crazy, let's say short-term risk. It's more a systemic risk that we have taken, and we have stuck to it even if we saw a lot of people are growing very fast, burning very fast, right? But we have taken more like, okay, grow slowly. I mean, not slowly, but grow moderately, not at a crazy pace, but grow sustainably.
Grow sustainably, okay. And out of everything that you could, if you could give one piece of knowledge or advice or anything from your whole entire journey, including your upbringing, the way that you think and what you believe in, and you could give it to someone who is, let's say, your younger self, Dwarika at 5 years old, aspiring to come to where you are now, what would you tell him?
I would say build strong relationships.
Okay.
Even if you have small number of relationships, build very deep and strong relationship, and that relationship should be created because there is A, trust, and there is B, admiration, right, for what you do. I'll give you an example, right? When you want to build something, you need to have people around you who trust you, who respects you, not pity you, right? And then who are okay to leave their jobs and get associated with you in that journey. And that they can do only if you have that kind of relationship where they respect you for your professional and your capabilities, right? And forgive you for some time even if you're not successful. Because I told you, right, it is all about who you have around you and how long they can stay with you without any output.
Okay.
Right? So, for example, when Anshuman and I started, we both were in 10 years into our jobs, right? But still, Anshuman came to me, I went to Anshuman because we had that kind of respect with each other. Then when we scaled the company, all our initial employees were people whom we have worked with in the past. And they either, basically respected us as their mentors, or they knew that what these guys are doing, they are generally good in their job, so they will never go wrong about it, right? So if you can get that initial set of people around you who will stick there with you for a long time, if you're lucky, you will succeed in 1 year. If you're a little bit lucky, you'll probably succeed in 5 years. If you're unlucky, you'll succeed in 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
Right? I mean, I've not done the 10-year journey, but I think just extrapolating what we have experienced, I think if this core team can stick around for 10 years, I think we'll do wonders.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the future of Aays? You have a very successful business, and then also, the relationships that you have are very successful as well. So what is the future for Dwarika? What is your vision in the next 5 years?
I mean, vision for me, why we have Aays is we love building, right? We love solving problem for the society, right? Whichever problem that comes our way. So I think in 5 years time, or I think this is what I think, is my personal, let's say, aspiration as well, is that I should be in a place where it is helping the society to get better, right? Using data, using AI, right? So we want to work with a lot of challenging problems for the society, public sector, private sector, and try to help either governments or private companies to make the world a better place, right? So that's what, it's very, very broad, but you want to be, because you need a very strong team to solve any problem. So we want to build that team and be that force behind any good things that are happening in the world, right? Hopefully we are not doing where we are adding negative value to the world, right?
So adding positive value.
Positive force.
Okay. Right? And your wife, if you could just give one message to her right now, what would it be? Based on this whole conversation that we've had, if you could have one message just directed towards your wife, because she seems like someone who's quite, you're smiling. She seems like someone who is very important in your life. What is that one message towards your wife?
Yeah, I know. Basically, I would say...
Like you're talking to her right now.
Yeah. I think she sees the best thing that could have happened to my life, right? because you inherit relationships without any control, like, who are your parents, who are your siblings. I mean, they have been very helpful, but those were you inherited it, right? You don't have a choice. Friends, you have a relationship which you can break down, or you can be very selective, right? But with wife, I think very little when you meet, and then it grows, right? And you never know how it will grow. And she has been the best thing that happened to me, right? And she has been such a great support, and like I said, right? I mean, she has been, in many ways, she's been very kind to me, very supportive of me as a best friend, right? So I think, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a long one though.
Dwarika, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.